Hello, my name is Jim Newtown. I'm your worship associate today. Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Flint. This year we are celebrating our 90th anniversary. If you are new to us, let me tell you a bit about us. We are an inclusive, welcoming congregation. We welcome people from the LGBTQ+ community fully into our congregation. Our congregation welcomes all people regardless of race, gender, abilities, financial means, or religious beliefs. We are a religion with no specific creed. We do have shared values and principles, which are listed on our website, uuflint.org. If you would like more information about us, please contact one of our ministers or our office. Contact information can be found at uuflint.org. And now some announcements. If you had trouble hearing last week's service, you were not the only one. That volume problem has been fixed, and the improved recording is at our YouTube channel. We hope you will give it another try. New at coffee hour today, we'll be adding Joys and Concerns candle lighting time at our regular coffee hour conversations. We will also be asking what you are thankful for. Use our regular Zoom ID found on eUpdate and our website. Please remember to share our services with your friends from YouTube or Facebook. The more likes we get, the closer to the top of the list in people's searches we come. We'll begin our service with a prelude from Jennifer Howard. We light our chalice as a symbol of gratitude as we celebrate the abundance of our lives together. In this sanctuary, we harvest bushels of strength for one another and offer our crop with the hands of compassion and generosity. In the authentic and gentle manner of our connections, we cultivate a simple sweetness to brighten our spirits. May we be grateful for the ways we nourish and uplift each other, for it is the sharing of this hallowed time together that sustains us. Please feel free to join me at home reciting our covenant. Recognizing the richness of diversity, the beauty and wonder of shared worship, and the transforming power of love and service, we gather as a sacred, intentional community to freely seek knowledge and truth, to celebrate the fullness of life, and by our actions to increase goodness and justice.
Our opening words are from Laura Horton Ludwig. The wheel of the year has turned again. Once more, the Thanksgiving season has arrived. How shall we sing our song of gratitude now? For what shall we give thanks? For this moment, for friends near and far, for our breath, for love, for courage and clarity, for strength and delight, laughter and beauty, for the tables round which we gather, for the food we enjoy, seasoned with love and memory, for the sun and the moon and the stars and the sky, for the trees who have seen so much and still stand proud, stretching themselves to the sky, for the bright voices of children, for the wisdom of elders, for actions that bless the world, for hard work that makes a difference, for music and art and celebration, for generosity and compassion, for endurance and joy and hope. For all of these things, we give thanks as we worship together.
Good morning. Let us sit comfortably, be in an attitude of prayer and meditation for an extended Thanksgiving contemplation. What is Thanksgiving really about? Opinions vary. No good holiday is uncomplicated, it seems, so you have to ask. It's not about celebrating the myth that the Indians and Pilgrims were great good friends. The meal that day was short. The Indians hadn't actually been invited. It was the Last Supper for the Wampanoag. And the Judas was our white ancestors. And Thanksgiving is not about sitting around the table having each person say what they're thankful for. That's okay. It might work. But telling someone that they must be thankful on the fourth Thursday of November is like telling someone they must like cooked carrots or Bob Dylan. It may not work. Thanksgiving must be about eating. It's about maximum butter intake. Because when you make a casserole to take over the river and through the woods to grandmother's house or whose ever house, when you do that, you add extra butter. Not too much, just the maximum amount possible before it starts oozing onto the other items on your plate. It ensures that everyone praises you and your dish, and they will speak in whispers about how good it is every year. And if you don't bring it, everyone is disappointed, and that makes you very happy. And if you make your own Thanksgiving meal, just for yourself, you are still likely to add an extra something to it. I recommend extra cheese. Eating well and plenty is an act that says, I deserve good things now and then. I deserve a treat by God. Thanksgiving is about satisfying our lust for the richest macaroni and cheese you can find. And why not? Life is short, and it's margarine that's bad for you, not butter. So it seems that Thanksgiving Day is about butter. And come to think of it, plenty of sugar too. But then, one Thanksgiving Day, you exit the highway, and at the top of the ramp is a homeless person with their pitiful sign, "Will work for food." And just by chance, earlier that day you had some defeat of your own, and your heart is raw and open because of it. You didn't get the job you wanted. Your child is not feeling well. There are too many defeats for us to even count them. But they are nothing compared to the defeated homeless person standing there in the cold or the heat or the rain. It is then that you may suddenly become truly thankful for your life. And you know that Thanksgiving is not just about eating well or being thankful once per year. It is about healing yourself and others by having a thankful heart in a world where gratitude is often hard to come by. And the fourth Thursday in November, it's just a celebration in the wisdom of trying to be thankful every day. And you don't need maximum butter, mac and cheese to be thankful. But thankfully, it doesn't hurt either.
Our reading is from the author of the Little House on the Prairie series, Laura Ingalls Wilder. As Thanksgiving Day draws near again, I am reminded of an occurrence of my childhood. To tell the truth, it is near a yearly habit of mine to think of it about this time and to smile once more. We were living on the frontier in South Dakota then. There's no more frontier within the boundaries of the United States, more's the pity. But then we were ahead of the railroad in a new, unsettled country. Our nearest and only neighbor was 12 miles away, and the store was 40 miles distant. Father had laid in a supply of provisions for the winter, and among them were salt meats. But for fresh meat, we depended on Father's gun and the antelope which fed in herds across the prairie. So we were quite excited one day near Thanksgiving when Father hurried in the house for his gun and then went away again to try for a shot at a belated flock of wild geese hurrying south. We would have roast goose for Thanksgiving dinner. Roast goose and dressing seasoned with sage, said Sister Mary. No, not sage. I don't like sage, and we won't have it in our dressing, I exclaimed. Then we quarreled, Sister Mary and I. She insisting that there should be sage in the dressing, and I declaring there should not be sage in the dressing until Father returned without the goose. I remember saying in a meek voice to Sister Mary, I wish I had let you have the sage. And to this day, when I think of it, I feel again just as I felt then and realize how thankful I would have been for that roast goose and dressing with or without any seasoning. I could even have gotten along without the dressing. Just plain goose, roasted, would have been plenty good enough. This little happening has helped me to be proper thankful, even though at times the seasoning of my blessings has not been just such as I would have chosen. We are nearly all afflicted with mental farsightedness and so easily overlook the thing that is obvious and near. There are hands and feet. Whoever thinks of giving thanks to them, until indeed they are lost? We usually accept them as a matter of course, without a thought. But a year of being crippled has taught me the value of my feet, and 2 perfectly good feet are now among my dearest possessions. So if for nothing else, let's just be glad we're alive and be doubly thankful if, like the Scotch poet Robert Burns said, we have a good appetite and the means to gratify it. Some have meat that cannot eat, and some want meat that lack it. And I have meat and I can eat, and so the Lord be thanked.
Over the river and through the woods to grandmother's house we go. The horse knows the way to carry the sleigh through the white and drifting snow.
Over the river and through the woods, oh, how the wind does blow. It stings the toes and bites the nose as over the ground we go.
Over the river and through the woods to have a first-rate play. Oh, hear the bells ring, ting-a-ling-ling. Hurrah for Thanksgiving Day.
Over the river and through the woods, trot fast my dapple gray. Spring over the ground like a hunting hound, for this is Thanksgiving Day.
Over the river and through the woods and straight through the barnyard gate. We seem to go extremely slow, and it's so hard to wait.
Over the river and through the woods, now grandmother's cap I spy.
Hurrah for the fun, is a pudding done. Hurrah for the pumpkin pie. This Thanksgiving is obviously not an over the river and through the woods kind of Thanksgiving. The author of that song was Lydia Maria Child, the famous Unitarian feminist and poet, songwriter. And Lydia must have had really good Thanksgivings back when she was young. Back when no one was worried about having too much butter. Unlike that song, however, we choose to first have a bah humbug version of Thanksgiving to get that natural human urge to complain about everything out of our system. I think this Thanksgiving truly calls for such utter honesty. So we will start with a list of things for which we and others probably aren't thankful. Our list ranges from the very trivial to the very serious. We hope we speak for everyone, so please think of us as your surrogate, sometimes unthankful spokespersons. Like many of you, I am not thankful for minute life forms we call viruses. I doubt that they have inherent worth and dignity, and I don't see how they are an honorable part of the interdependent web of all existence. Perhaps a truly enlightened person can do that in their mind, but I cannot. And on a much less serious note, I am also not thankful for the minute creatures we call fleas. We have 4 cats and 1 dog, and we thought they could never get fleas. So, boy, were we dumb. I'm also not thankful for the sins of pride and greed that over many years created the self-serving myth that Native Americans and early colonists had a warm and fuzzy relationship. They did not. But that untrue myth became the model for our Thanksgiving holiday. The so-called first Thanksgiving Day may have contained a glimmer of cooperation between the Wampanoag tribe and the colonists who wanted land and more land. But any cooperation on the part of the colonizers was so short-lived as to be a mere blip in American history. Think of it. Those Europeans thought that they were the ancient Israelites inheriting the promised land, and the Native Americans, they were the faithless Canaanites that had to be eradicated. Most of us can't be thankful for that ever.
Right. We can't be thankful for a beautiful friendship between the Puritans and the Wampanoag. Do you know that not many years ago, even Native children on reservations were told the Thanksgiving lies, but they didn't know it then? Sean Sherman, a chef and author of an award-winning cookbook, The Sioux Chef's Indigenous Kitchen, that's Sioux, S-I-O-U-X, he grew up on Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in South Dakota. And that is the poorest county with the lowest life expectancy in the United States. He went to a native school where he was also taught the sanitized and peaceful version of Thanksgiving. As Sherman grew up, his family gathered on Thanksgiving like most families did in America, with a huge feast at his grandparents' with typical recipes, most of them straight out of a circa 60s Betty Crocker cookbook. He remembers that they had all the things you would expect, including potatoes with marshmallows, brand name stuffing, canned cranberry sauce, Jell-O molds, and he remembers 1950s style glass platters filled with canned California black olives. Now, when his grandparents were gone, they stopped gathering, and he eventually learned the true story of the Pilgrims and his people, and he grew bitter. He says Thanksgiving really had nothing to do with Native Americans and everything to do with an old guard conjuring a lie of the first people welcoming the settlers to bolster their false authority over what makes a real American. So, as one of the designated proxy complainers today, I have to say, I am definitely not thankful for how most of us were first schooled on Thanksgiving, or the other terrible losses indigenous cultures endured when the white people moved in. Losses such as the disappearance of the bison, the taking of the Black Hills, the many massacres, and the Americanization in boarding schools they suffered.
Being unthankful on Thanksgiving is both realistic and therapeutic, and also a lot of fun, I think. It doesn't mean we have to dwell on or always be negative. When we experience a great loss in our lives, we go through the very healthy stages of grief, starting with denial and ending with acceptance. So on Thanksgiving, we can start with outraged unthankfulness and end with being acceptably, perhaps enthusiastically, thankful. No one said being thankful is easy. Meister Eckhart, the great Christian mystic, said, "If the only prayer you ever say in your entire life is thank you, it will be enough." But before we say that prayer, Lynn and I should mention some people, probably all of us, are not thankful for, and then tell you what we would like to say to them, perhaps only in our fantasies, or maybe even right to their face. To those who vote for politicians who have appealed to their worst instincts, I would like to say, please don't vote for people who appeal to your greatest irrational fears. People of color are not out to get you. Man-made global warming is not a conspiracy, and no one stole the election from Donald Trump. I would like to tell them, some people are prone to vote out of fear and to believe conspiracy theories, but they are only projecting their own secret desire to get people who aren't like them, and their own desire to create conspiracy theories to scare other people. I would like to say, remember, my friend, people who say the election was stolen are simply betraying their own willingness to steal an election if they think they could get away with it. So, before you make your "Stop the Steal" picket sign, remember, when your psychologist asks you during your exam, do you think most people will steal if they can get away with it? And you answer yes every time the psychologist asks that question, perhaps in different wording. But if you say yes every time to that question, they will know you are the one who wants to steal something, maybe steal an election. And now on the very trivial side, to grocery store clerks who say, when I'm leaving, "Have a good one," I would like to say, I'm very thankful for your hard work that helps me with my favorite hobby, eating. But when you say, "Have a good day," I start asking, or they say, when they say, "Have a good one," I start asking, have a good one what? A good meal? A good drive home? A good life? Perhaps just saying, "Have a good day," would work better for anyone under 45. And thanks again for your hard work. I guess I should also be thankful that I have the time and leisure to be so picky about such little things. I, too, could be the one demanding no sage in the goose stuffing before the goose is even a reality.
Okay, that was a little picky. But I'm going to be a little petty, too, because I'll bet some of these things that I say might echo your own ungratefulness. You know, I'm not thankful for migraines, or student loans, or teenage angst, and I'm really not thankful that our lawn has become the private privy for local ducks and geese, and I know you're not. I could go on, but let's talk about actual people. So ministers, I think, are supposed to forgive easily, and I do try, but it doesn't mean I'm always thankful for particular people at times, and more accurately, probably certain behaviors of particular people. It's difficult to be thankful for the people who believe God will choose to give them COVID or not, and so they gather in large groups in churches and rallies. Same for the folks who go into small spaces without their masks just on principle because they don't want the government telling them what to do. I wish everyone understood it's about their health and everyone else's. I'm truly not thankful for politicians at the moment, all of them, really, since about 2016. And of late, I'm not thankful for a handful of folks who have said to me about the election, "Well, you must be happy, your guy won." That guy and gal, yes, they won, but they will lead the entire nation. They are not mine. They are not yours. They are now leaders of these United States. The united is the key. They will have to tackle some tough issues, probably some of the toughest any incoming president has ever had. A divided country shouldn't have to be one of them, in my opinion. Now, I know the following ones are really trivial, but I think some of you might empathize. I'm not thankful for how some doctors' offices treat their patients. The nurse that weighs me in the hallway announces my weight aloud and records it. And then once I get into the doctor's office, he tells me to lose weight, ignoring the fact that I've lost 20 pounds in a year and a half. I need some encouragement. An atta girl would be nice, because I probably won't get it at home, because I'm not always thankful for how brutally honest our son is with me at times, especially about my appearance. But I did encourage that and teach him that. "Mom," he said the other day, "that is not really meant for someone with your body type. But it's okay to wear around the house for sermon writing." So, we know that America provides plenty of things to be grateful for, and we'll get to that. But in terms of Thanksgiving and the founding of our country, we just can't be thankful for the immoral acts of Americans throughout history. In some cases, we have fessed up to our mistakes, but in others, we have just started to open our eyes to them.
So it's my turn to list things for which I'm thankful. And I'm not sure it will be as much fun as complaining and being unthankful. But I'm sure it's better if all of us try to spend more time on the thankful side of life. I am thankful for our community of people who share pretty much the exact same list of things that we could never be thankful for. Now, we don't demand an over the river and through the woods kind of Thanksgiving every time, but we do have a long list of things we don't like. And that is one definition of being a progressive human being. We are pulled in the direction of more love, more reason, more justice, by some force that is just as real as the magnetic pull of the North. The world is made better by people who are enlightened when they argue so strenuously about the proper ingredients of goose stuffing, and then when the goose they so desire never even arrives, they have an aha. I'm thankful for people who are open to such awakenings, who see the salvation in such simple things, and our place is full of them. And mainly, I'm thankful that there are so many people in our congregation who help proclaim our message in this time of COVID. Life was simpler when church services were held in a clearing in the forest and the preacher stood on a stump, but things have changed a lot. Now, it is only with the help of many dedicated people that we are able to tell others about how we see the world, about our understanding of Thanksgiving or the lack thereof.
Laura Ingalls Wilder's story does remind us of simpler times when people were thankful for the most basic of things like their hands and feet, and people didn't have to worry if camera one was too yellow or if the minister wasn't speaking loud enough into the mic. But seriously, I do believe UUs are pretty grateful people. That's why I think Thanksgiving can be difficult for us. We love the thanks bit, but dislike the destroying the land and culture of a people part. Well, that's why today I am most grateful for Chef Sherman for suggesting that we rethink this celebration and focus on what we have in front of us, such as edible resources. Sherman points out that food can be at the heart of cultural reclamation, and we already have a good start because traditional Thanksgiving foods like corn, squash, wild turkey, and cranberries actually have an indigenous American background. He also believes that this is the year to learn from indigenous communities because COVID has taught us just how vulnerable we are to outside sources for our food and nutrition. Perhaps we can try to remember that this week as we prepare our meals. But as you say your meal blessing, you might not want to use Jimmy Fallon's list of things he's thankful for, even if we might agree with some of them. For instance, he says, "Thank you, kids' table, for being the fun table and the table for adults who don't want to talk about politics. Thank you, gourds, for being squash that are going through their awkward years. And thank you, pumpkin spice latte, for sounding like strawberry shortcake's stripper cousin." Well, I'm sure that you have your own list anyway, probably similar to mine. You know, I'm grateful for my family and shelter, the beauty of the earth, the UUCF kayaking group, a best friend that makes me laugh so hard I almost wet myself weekly, a massage therapist who will squeeze me in at the last minute. I'm thankful for the people who accept, if not participate in my rock, not the music kind, obsession. And I'm especially thankful for my husband, who tied a huge piece of driftwood to the grill of our car like a dead deer this summer, because I really, really wanted to take it home from vacation, and the car was full, probably with rocks. I'm going to leave you with this. Thanksgiving should go on as planned. As Chef Sherman says, we do not need to dwell on the horrors of the past or believe in that illusion of past unity to actually unite people today. Instead, let's focus simply on values that apply to everybody: togetherness, generosity, and gratitude, and butter.
I'm gonna cry. Started on the wrong note, sorry. I'm gonna cry all alone in this room. Don't ask me why. It's just, I'm sorry, I'm still on the wrong note. Give me an E, please. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. I'm gonna cry all alone in this room. Don't ask me why. It's just that I need to. I'll feel the sorrow, and I'll feel the pain, and I will be grateful at the end of the day. I'm gonna walk in myself through the storms in my body, through the high water hell. I will press on and I will be grateful at the end of the day. I'll be a witness to the sorrows I see. I will not feel at ease. I will not feel at peace when the world leaves me sleepless. I'll be awake, and I will be grateful at the end of the day. I will be strong and stronger still, torn from my hopes and worn from my will. When I speak my truth, you'll hear me say, I am grateful at the end of the day. I will be a mother. I will learn to teach all the love in the world and the dangers it keeps. I will give of my heart and to show you the way. I will be grateful at the end of the day.
We affirm the goodness of this world. We share our joy for life and stand on the side of love. We share our time, talent, and treasure to continue being a liberal presence in this community. We ask that you consider joining us and supporting us. You can share your abundance by going to uuflint.org and making a donation, or by sending a check to the church office. Thank you.
May we go forth thankful for the life that sustains and renews us, and open to the grace that surrounds and surprises us. May we go forth with openness and with thanksgiving. And now, let us extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.